Hello folks, I am back with the firearms comparison, and this time it's going to be with the CZ SP-01 Tactical Urban Gray against the Beretta M9A3. Now normally I would go through specs and all that, but I'm not going to do that. Both of these firearms are similar in the fact that they share a similar profile and also that they're both suppressor ready. Now the difference from my other videos where I compare firearms that are suppressor ready, there was actually a suppressor on the testing on both of these. Let me start with the CZ. This is the CZ that I had sent to Cajun Gunworks. The difference from it being in a stock configuration is that there was some trigger work done. Of course, you see the optic up top, and you will notice that it has a high suppressor front sight, and there's none in the rear. That was because of how it had to be made by Cajun Gunworks. However, this firearm is pretty much, I'm going to say, when it was stock, it was a little gritty, and now it shoots a lot smoother. Now, on the Beretta M9 92A3, this is the latest version of the 92 series. Now, this I originally had a M92A1, which was the version that the Marines used. The trigger was very stout, and that first double action pull was ridiculously hard, and then I did do some upgrades, but I traded it in for this particular model. And the trigger is smooth, and it is pretty much close to being as smooth as the Cajun Gunworks on the CZ here. So as you can see here, both of these firearms have similar profiles. Kind of have that long front with the short rear. Kind of reminds you of like sports cars or like a Corvette or a Camaro or something of that nature. And they are both have that similar profile. Now, one of the things that CZ is known for is their grip. That ergo grip is really, really something that you would really want as a shooter. So that ergo grip is the first thing that people notice about the CZs. Now, with this one, you have your option. There's an option where it has the Vertex Grip. Now, the Vertex Grip is a straight line, like a similar to a 1911. Now, Beretta does give you the rubber grip right here, and I chose to do this because it felt better in my hand, and I felt like I can grab and control the firearm like I want to. Unfortunately, the Vertex Grip wasn't for me at that point. So as you see, there are similar profiles in the curvature of both of these, but like I said, the CZ is going to edge it out. As you see with this rubberized grip, this is probably a hoe grip from that Beretta contracted with. One of the things about this is because it's a rubberized grip, it is a little bit thicker, and this thickness is going to make it a little girthy compared to, I would say, the CZ. Now, the CZ is rubberized as well, but it gives you kind of like a palm swell. So if you notice that a lot of people sometimes will replace these rubberized grips in place of, let's say, a lock grips, who makes great replacements. So one of the things is I'm a fan of the rubberized grips, but I'm been expanding. But with the Beretta, I don't think you have much of many options out there to do any type of replacements here. One of the things both have in common are the 1913 style Picatinny rail area here, where you can put flashlights, lasers, etc. with them. The both have decockers. This decocker is a little bit different. They both share different ways to use their decockers. Now, this one is a frame decocker. It's on the frame. You just press down, and then the hammer goes forward. The Beretta, on the other hand, has a what they call a slide-mounted decocker. A lot of people are not big fans of that. So, what they'll, as you see, this particular decocker, it goes down not as only as a decocker, but as a safety. So, this is what happens when you pull the trigger and you don't have uh, it's not like other firearms where it just decocks, and of course you see this does not pop up, so you'll be able to fire. On this particular version, there are kits for this where it can do that. And if you notice with this particular Beretta, you have the decocking mechanism here, or slash safety. It's on an angle because the original Berettas, they were about this end. So if you did overhand manipulations, what would happen is you would knock it into decock mode, and unfortunately you wouldn't be able to fire it under a stressful situation. Now that's a little higher, you're able to fire immediately. Now, if you notice, like I said, with this decocker, all you do is bring this down and it pops right back into its decocking mode. Both share something a little similar. One of the things that CZ does is they put the slide into the frame, and if you notice, if you're looking right here, it's the slide is into the frame, which helps it out with its flat shooting. Now, Beretta has chose to have done this a little different. Instead of your normal, I guess you would say Browning type action, where the barrel kind of like tilts, and then when the barrel tilts, you're able to, as the slide goes back, the round is able to feed in almost directly. And if you see here, I'm going to take this magazine out. It is filthy because it just came from the range. And as you see here, the barrel pretty much stays straight, stays right in line with the frame itself. So that's what happens in this particular style of firearm. Uh, just to show you on this one, on the CZ, it kind of has a flat profile. Now you look at that very well. You could barely, if at all, see this barrel tilt up right here. And as it goes forward, it gets right back into battery, which enables it to shoot at flat shooting. And that's what CZs are pretty much known for. Both of these firearms were made for military slash police work, and of course NATO has used this particular, or other military units in Europe, in Europe have been using this particular firearm, as well as you know, they're phasing out the Beretta 92 style firearms. This has served the country as a replacement to the 1911 firearms. Now, just so you know, both of these firearms are a little bit weighty. Unfortunately, I do not have my notes on how many ounces it weighs, but they're both a little weighty. And they're, to be weighty as both of these firearms are, they are very well balanced, in my opinion. Uh, Shooting both of these, let's talk about the shooting impressions outside of the suppressors. Uh, this shoots very good. I average pretty decent shooting. My groups are pretty much like that wide. With the CZ, my average groups are maybe an inch tighter. But now it was an inch tighter prior to the work from Cajun Gunworks on this particular firearm. But however, there is a big difference to me when you use the well, this is a Dead Air Ghost M 45M suppressor. And to me, there's a big difference because it makes the firearms, both of the firearms, feel different. Uh, both of these firearms are, when you use a suppressor on with these, It's like almost like a BB gun. It feels soft. The shooting is soft. Um, and I'm going to say right now, with both shooting both of these, I believe that the Beretta is feels a little bit better. I mean they both feel great when you're shooting with the suppressor, but I think with the Beretta there's a really unique feel with that. To me it stays pretty much flat when you're balancing, and I guess that's because the action of this goes straight back and then straight forward. Um, and that's what's very unique about this one. This one is pretty much the same, but like I said, I'm giving the edge to the Beretta on this. One of the big differences that this has a bigger advantage as far as sighting is when you get this version, the Urban Gray, uh, the tactical version already comes with suppressor height sights. So when you put a suppressor on, you want to be able to, let's say, clear this area, because when you're putting this up to eye level, you're seeing your suppressor, and you want to make sure you have sights enough to clear that to accurately hit a target. And especially now with this optic on it, that just enhances it. Now, like I said, the Beretta is very good and it feels good. I think Beretta could have opted to put higher sights on this. There's, I guess they're assuming that if someone was to use this in a patrol environment, it would be holstered or something of that nature. But I think it still would have served it well with a little bit of higher sight. So my sight line with the suppressor, I'm seeing right about here. So my sight line is right here from the sight. So I'm not seeing over the suppressor. Actually, this firearm is better than a lot of other firearms I tried the suppressor on, because on the 1911 I had the 1911 Scorpion, it was pretty much guessing. This one is a slight guess, but it pretty much lines up pretty well, and again it varies depending on the size suppressor you have. This one, there was no guessing. You aim, you shoot, you hit the target because you have suppressor height sights. Now, I'm going to show you some uh, targets here, and I'm going to let you see what I'm talking about when I say about the using the suppressor height sights. Excuse me, I'm trying to get these targets, and here we go. And this is roughly about, I put this about 8 to 10 yards. One of the things that when I was shooting, these two spots right here, this is all me. That's my fault. I anticipated the shot, and you know what happens when you anticipate a shot. You start throwing your targets off. So that's my little stupidity there. But right here, I was guessing, so I'm seeing sort of this, the suppressor, the rear of the suppressor is over the rear red right here, and the sights were right here. So I was guessing it was right. The rear sights and the front sights were lined up here. So that's why the target, the shots here are coming low and off a little bit. But to the credit of the firearm itself, the Beretta, it shot with very good and very tight groups. Now I was shooting 115 grain. Uh, Full metal jacket. So I usually they didn't have 147 grain, so I tried it with this. Going to the CZ, you're going to notice a dramatic difference, and this is what happens when you can see your sights perfectly. Boom, right there. Though that is, and I'm going to attribute that to not only the sights, but maybe the trigger, because I think the trigger is very well, you know, it's Cajun Gunworks. Not maybe at all. The trigger is excellent. Well, after Cajun Gunworks do their magic. Um, Again, these two shots here, that's all on me. But you can see how tight these groups are, and it's ridiculously tight. I believe this, if these two weren't outside, this would probably be roughly about 2 inches or so. But that is pretty much how both of these firearms shot. Like I said, I like both of the firearms. Both of them shoot very well. The accuracy on these are very good, and I'm looking forward to shooting uh, more with both of these firearms. But like I said, the feel was better with this one, the Beretta, and I shot, as you see, a lot more accurately with the CZ. Okay, folks, with that said, I don't want to run this video any longer, but with that said, happy shooting, stay safe, hashtag 2A. Take care.